Hello again, Struckweb. Today I will share with you my update overview or impressions of the Tower of Chaos patch, the Tower of Chaos update that was added to Warhammer Chaosbane yesterday. It's a big update with a new endgame mode, the Tower of Chaos, which I would explain a little bit later. In addition to this, the Relic Hunt and Boss Rush old modes have been reworked, but before we go into detail about those, let's share a message from the developer team, where you can see kind of some of their message to the community when releasing the update. It's been almost a year since the game launched, so you can kind of see that eventually they will be adding something else, something special in store for us uh, later this year. What that would be and whether it would be next month when the anniversary of the game is remains to be seen. Hopefully it's something nice. Now you can see some bits of information about how they've rebalanced certain things in the game. So hopefully that gives you some idea. Most of the rebalancing, by the way, with this update is coming from the rework of the god skill trees. And it's not just a rework, it's also rearrangement. So some nodes got boosted. More about that later. When I'm talking about each character, I would kind of quickly give you some information about those, and I'm also gonna upload a separate video regarding the god skills, where I'm going into detail regarding what changed, what moved, which nodes we can find where, what builds might end up being better. Now there have also been changes with the gameplay, of course, as I mentioned, the new mode and the rework of the old mode. So we've got Tower of Chaos, we've got the Relic Hunts and Boss Rush rework, and there's a additional Relic Hunt mode which needs resources which you get from the Tower of Chaos. Overall, a lot more endgame than when the game launched 1 year ago, and now many people would enjoy the game much more than before. You can see also new enemies have been added to every act, and they add for a more or less stale and stagnant experience when playing through those acts. Having that extra variety really does help the overall experience, and there have also been some bug fixes. Not much that have been listed, but there are some that haven't been listed that I've noticed, such as on Conrad. I used to like using builds where I'm healing by using god skills and spamming Sigmar's Bastion, which is back in business now. So if you were using the necklace that heals you for 20% HP whenever you use a god skill, this one has been fixed. Unfortunately, some bugs like the one where Alessa throws her spinning blade and dodges right into it, ends up destroying the blade, and as if she's picking up the blade and it disappears, is not fixed. Also on Kiwa, the forge wood pistol doesn't seem to work still. I still can get that extra damage on enemies that are burning, not even one little million extra damage can be seen, so it's just still broken. So hopefully that gets fixed with the next update. Now let's talk about the Tower of Chaos. I already mentioned some of the stuff about it, but the important thing is, as you go further you get more wood quality and the enemies get stronger. There's gonna be different randomized waves, so whether it's gonna be like that one, killing 10 champions, where it's gonna be just kill 5 champions, like 5 of those guys with the shield, like the one that's following me, whether it's gonna be some sort of completely different event where you have to do different stuff. There's multiple things that can happen, but the basic would be complete the wave and then pick. Do you want to wood the chest or do you want to go further? If you want to go further, you have to make sure that you're up for the task, because if you aren't, you're gonna die and you're not gonna get anything. Someone on the Discord channel mentioned they reached like wave 30 something and ended up losing the rewards because they glitched into some sort of one of the fireplaces and couldn't move. So maybe you have to be prepared for the unexpected bugs. And also one more thing I'd like to mention, the Tower of Chaos does not seem to be the mode you want to be running if you're after items. it's not as rewarding as the other modes can be, like the upgraded Relic Hunt mode. So if you're a new player, my guess would be find the difficulty on the Tower of Chaos you can do, and just run round 1 or 2, collect the reward. Round 1, 2, maybe up to 4, collect the reward. Just add a bunch of quick runs so you can get some of that currency, some of those rewards. The green currency that is used for boosted relic hunts, and then once you've got like 5 or 10 of those, just do a bunch of relic hunts that are boosted in a row, and eventually that would be much better rewards for you. Once you're doing the boosted relic hunt, which I will talk in a moment, you would be able to see how much more rewarding that is. Now, as I mentioned, they reworked the boss rush and relic hunt modes. Basically, you select the invasion type, whether it's Nurgle, which now includes Act 6, Chapter 6, the Forges of Known as well, or Khorne, or Tzeentch, or Swanesh. So you choose Act 1 and 6 together, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, or Act 5. So there's the Tomb King as you saw as well. Then you select up to 4 modifiers. Each of those modifiers would add something called Discovery Potential, which I am guessing again is probably something that increases the ratio of which you fill up your wood quality when doing an upgraded relic hunt. I'm not sure whether the Discovery Potential has anything to do with a non-upgraded relic hunt. The developers weren't clear enough in the patch notes and anywhere else regarding what that might do, so hopefully we get some sort of explanation about what the relic hunt's discovery potential is. So let's see now. I'm going into the map, and as you can see at the bottom there's this green bar which indicates our wood quality at the moment. As we keep killing enemies we get a multiplier which goes from times 0 all the way to times 50. Which means every time you kill an enemy at times 50 you're getting the maximum wood quality this enemy can give you. You can see we're killing enemies and this keeps increasing the multiplier, and based on that multiplier the wood quality grows. I'm assuming that the modifier is something that gets applied, that multiplier that goes up to times 50 gets applied to the base discovery potential, and based on that discovery potential and the multiplier we get to fill up the wood quality faster. You can see there's something at the bottom that's like Roman numbers, Roman number 1 3 times, and we just unlocked one of those, we reached it. So those are thresholds that give you keys. Those keys you can use to open the chests at the end of the relic hunt. So you can choose to just do a speed run and open 1 or 2 chests, or you can choose to kill as many enemies as needed for number 3 of the keys and to open 3 chests, or you can just choose to go after opening after reaching the 3rd threshold to just reach the limit of wood quality, which by our estimation with some other people who I talked to, we think that that's on Chaos 9 it's 10.5 thousand wood quality base. On that you're adding your own wood quality, which means when I'm playing with my current gear I think I've got around 300 wood quality, and that's why I'm getting around 10,811 without Amulet of Contempt. If I use an Amulet of Contempt maybe I can get to 11 plus thousand wood quality, which is kind of an overkill. I mean anything above 7-8,000 wood quality is an overkill. As long as you do enough of those runs you're probably gonna be fine. So this is an amazing rework of this mode, and I'm so happy that they've added it. I hope many players would think alike, and many players who have given up on the game might consider returning. I'm pretty sure the hardcore Path of Exile players may not enjoy this, and maybe the hardcore Grim Dawn players may not enjoy it as much, but this would definitely fit well with the Diablo 3 crowd. Who want to have something to play and farm and wood in between seasons. So hopefully those people might consider the game. It's currently discounted at 60%, and I think getting the Magnus edition at 60% is worth it. This is not a sponsored message, by the way, just me sharing my insight from what the game can offer you right now, if you consider it a single player game, not a multiplayer game, because the population right now is low until we get more people, and then maybe things might change. If you are not looking for something to play with others, but rather are a sole self-found player and maybe just have friends, real life friends that can buy the game and play with you, then you're gonna have a blast. It's a steal to get the game when it's discounted at 60%. The Magnus edition includes all the DLCs that have been released until now and that will be released in the future, including the paid ones like the Godskill DLC and the Tom King's DLC, which are the only two worth buying actually if you're buying DLCs. And since the Magnus edition includes the season pass with those DLCs, getting that discounted is nice, because I've never seen the season pass by itself discounted. So consider it, guys. My advice is consider that game if you like that type of playstyle, but don't blame me if you don't end up liking it, so make sure it's the right game for you before you do. So enough of those relic hunts. Now let's quickly show you about the boss rushes, just a few seconds of what the boss rush interface is. You're gonna see that it's kind of the same as the relic hunt interface. So you select, you go to the collectors guild where now the boss rushes are located. You pick the boss you wanna do from the act that you want to do, and you can see that the act 6, the chapter 6 one has been put right after the chapter 1 boss, and you select the modifiers, the map modifiers that are to your liking. It's gonna give you discovery potential, which I don't know why discovery potential is here, because you don't have an upgraded boosted version like in the relic hunts, and then you just start it and go inside. This pretty much sums it up. Now let's talk a bit about the cosmetics changes that came with this update. The system is not perfect, but it's still better than not having it. Basically the way it works is, once you have found an item, you can give it to the collectors guild by using the donate button, which gives you some other rewards as you fill up a bar, such as resources for upgrading items and so on. And once you're donating items to the collectors guild, the models, the skins of those items get unlocked for this character to use. So it doesn't seem to be a count wide. I haven't checked whether two characters of the same type would have access to the same ones, but I assume they can't. Basically the problem here is with low level skins that only drop at low levels. This means you would have to make a wobby or get someone who has a wobby to give you the skins. And this is where the system seems to be slightly flawed. Now let's talk a little bit about how the god skills have been rearranged and rebalanced. So as you would be able to see through this footage, some of the nodes on every character have been kind of moved around to different places. So every single HP, damage, armor node has been buffed up from 2% to like 3%, in some cases even 4%. Cooldown reduction nodes have been rearranged and buffed up as well, as you might be able to see, and in general some nodes have been moved from one place to another, replaced from one node to another, and the main thing that you would notice is the big nodes, the big dot nodes, the ones that are for passive stuff, give you 2 bonuses instead of just 1. Before they used to give you 1 bonus and 1 negative effect, but now they no longer do. And this is true for every single character in the game. So you would be noticing overall a buff, a boost in every character, and that should open up some other builds. In general, I've noticed that every hero has less crit damage potential now, but it has more flat damage. And since crit damage benefits from flat damage, you would be noticing many changes in that regard. As you saw on Conrad, there was a lot more cooldown reduction earlier, and now as you're seeing on Event tier, you should be able to see that again a lot more cooldown reduction you can get, a little bit less crit damage, overall more flat damage. There's a lot of nice damage and damage over time nodes placement. And another thing I've noticed on Event tier is a build would be possible with counter spell and with counter attack damage, because there's counter attack damage on this second god skill tree at the bottom right corner, right under the damage reduction arcane manifestation, and that combined with counter spell might be very fun to try out. And I do have some counter attack gear that I might experiment with. Next on Elessa, you would see that both poison build and a similar build would be benefiting from that increased cooldown. You can see the health regeneration is kind of in the same places, but counterattack damage builds might be benefiting a lot from what can be seen around ambush, how much counterattack damage there is. There's also counterattack damage around the physical damage stuff here, so maybe ambush with that one over there might be a nice combo, stacking as much physical damage as you can. The cooldown reduction around the poison summoner, slow poison summoner build has been removed, but the cooldown reduction around the bottom right corner and the bottom left corner here on the summoner tree has been buffed up with a lot of damage around it as well. So crit nodes have been swapped around as well. Now on Bragi you can see the counterattack damage has been moved. Again, another character where counterattack has been moved in different places. In general, I think it's better to maybe get counterattack damage from the first god skill tree, because you can get shitloads of health drain. You can get 48% health drain just from this little corner here. I've not taken all of it, I've only taken like 14, but there's 2 times 10 and 2 times 7 that I haven't taken, which I can. Overall, a lot more cooldown reduction again, which is great for Bragi. In this part of the God skill tree, there's gonna be some interesting setups where the crit damage has been moved a little bit down near Smite Spite, I think was the name of the skill. They moved the cooldown reduction from the middle of this god skill tree, which I used to take, and they removed the counterattack damage from the second god skill tree, which I was taking around Fighting Spirit. So we're gonna be forced to think a little bit more, but I think now a build that stacks shitloads of HP and uses the god skill that gives you counterattack damage based on HP would be nice, as long as you use at least the basic fighting spirit, the first fighting spirit. Now for Kiwa, again, the crit damage nodes have been shifted around and replaced, but you can get much more cooldown reduction. You can also notice that she has some interesting sources of counterattack damage, which I only can think of one build that can use this, which is that upgraded Morgrim Smite that gives you bonus damage based on your counterattack damage. And the cooldown reduction has also been kind of moved around, but overall, again, it's more than before, so you should be seeing improvements overall for her. Every hero is stronger now, and I think there should be a much more bigger variety of builds. Time will tell once I spend some time experimenting, and maybe some of my viewers can share their versions of playing certain builds, so I can test those too. If you want to, feel free to let me know what you're using, and I can test it while streaming and see if it works well for my gear. If you've enjoyed this video and want to be notified for when I upload more content like this for this game or other wooters of the hack and slash or shooter wooter variety, you could subscribe to my channel to get those content updates, and you can get notified by clicking on the bell button as well. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope everything was clear. If something wasn't, share your comments, questions, etc. in the section below. Keep it cool, folks. Thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.